Our blessings reach us. What is all this? Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's cutting out.
So what I am pressing. Okay. Now, are we back?
Yeah.
Continue. Yes, I'm back. Some stupid program showed up on my. So you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I with a little word of prayer, I pray that today is another blessed day for us in learning, that prosperity will continue to abide by us, that the wisdom of Orunmila will continue to enlighten us, to be able to accomplish our destiny. I think what we are discussing Irete Meji, Ejiede, and Ejielemere. Irete Meji is a very good Odu that when Irete Meji showed up for a person, we will say they will live a long time. We will say they will overcome all challenges in life and overcome antagonizing the enemy. We will say they will have children. We will say they will, if the person is looking for a husband, they will meet a husband. If they are looking for a wife, they will meet a husband, because their destiny did not choose a life of single living, but to live in two, husband and wife, wife and husband. We will say such a person will overcome hard times in their life. We will say such a person might have to leave the town where they are born before they accomplish their destiny, which means they must travel out to prosper, to have a husband, to have a wife, because it is in the back of one's home that the enemy resides, and inside one's home is the conspirators are in Ejirete. Ejirete is a very important Odu. He is the one that divined for the swamp. He also divined for the pigeon to be able to have a peaceful home. The pigeon was able to make offering in those days, while the swamp did not make an offering, and the swamp became a very damp and life that is not conducive for living. Whereas the pigeon was able to have a comfortable home and live a life of peacefulness. Eji Irete also is the one that helped the disciples of Orunmila to understand prosperity, to understand how prosperity is acquired. So when we cast Eji Irete for somebody, we advise such a person to make certain offerings so that they can really prosper in life. Because according to Osamaru, when God has completed his creative work on creating the earth and bringing all things about, Eledumare planted a tree of wealth. And that tree of wealth, he had 3 different entities to guard it. 3 different entities guarding it. The entities were the boa, the ram, and the rooster. When the tree now grew, all the deities were running after it, going for it, trying to acquire prosperity, but they do not know how to go about it. But Orunmila, with his wisdom, always turned to Ifa, and Ifa advised that he should make certain offering. And after Orunmila made those offerings, the Awos advised him that he must approach the plant of wealth with 3 different items. He was supposed to have yam peel. He was supposed to have corn, and also something that the boa will like, which is like a rat. Orunmila approached this, and when it approached the wealth tree, came by it and realized, oh, here's the boa. Orunmila realized, okay, let me just throw the rat, and the boa went after the rat. He cannot do his duty anymore, which is to guard the wealth plant. He approached the wealth plant, and as soon as he got closer to it, here was the ram. Orunmila threw the yam peel to the ram, and the ram was busy eating the yam peel and moved further towards the wealth plant, the tree, and there is the rooster. The rooster is actually the final guard, because the rooster will crow and alert the Eledumare and the guards. And as soon as Orunmila saw it, he threw some corn. I was busy pecking the corn, so Orunmila climbed the wealth plant and started to harvest prosperity. As soon as the rooster saw that Orunmila has climbed it, all he could do is to alert the whole universe. That is why up till today, the cock always crow in the morning and at certain times to wake people up and to alert the people that it is. And the voice that came out of his mouth was, Orunmila gegeo, Orunmila ti gegeo. When we have this Odu, the Awos will tell a person, such a person, to build a ladder. We'll build a ladder and put it at the base of Eshu, also at the base of Ifa, so that one can climb the hill of prosperity. And it does work. Wealth will come, money will come. And because what is wealth? Wealth does not mean to have, wealth does not mean, oh no, the wealth does not mean to have lots of cars, and in Yoruba term, wealth is to be wealthy means to be comfortable and be able to really cover. That's my interpretation. Be able to fulfill all obligations, where you never lacking when you need it. Orunmila was able to harvest the plant of prosperity, harvest prosperity for the earth, for the world, by following the guidelines of the Awos and fulfilling the sacrifices that was designated for him and Eshu. Bring the wisdom that a ladder is what he can use to climb. In many Odus, there's other Odus that showed us how Orunmila climbed to prosperity, or even to harvest money. When money came to earth, it came in the same way. Ogbe Yonu, when we get to Ogbe Ogunda, we will talk more about that. Now, this is how Orunmila became prosperous. And after acquiring prosperity now prosperity begets envy. Prosperity becomes envy. People start to, other Awos start to be envious of Orunmila. When Orunmila came to earth, he was practicing his Ifa in Ekiti. Now, in Ekiti, one time he went to perform Ifa services all around certain area. I sent something to you today beside Baba Ifashek in the poster during the somebody was trying to call in. Now, in Ijan Ekiti, it is where this story of Ifa that's very significant in the life of our wolves is coming up. When Orunmila went to do divination in this part of Ekiti state, he was living in Okemesi. That's where he was living. He went to Ekiti. While he was doing divination there, a woman by the name of Poroye, who is a daughter of a king, came to Orunmila and said she had come because she's been married for so long and did not have children. And Orunmila told her to make some sacrifice so that she can have children, and the sacrifice was made. Orunmila also instructed her to go and deposit the sacrifice beside pit in the forest, which she did. But that same night, Orunmila had to go and harvest go find some plants and also harvest a deer, hunt for a deer to make offerings. And when Orunmila got into the forest, he found a deer, shot the deer, and the deer was in the process of struggling with the deer. Both Orunmila and the deer fell into the pit. And the pit is deep enough that he cannot carry the deer and have himself come out together out of the pit. And children were passing by. He heard them talking, and he called out to them to help him, and nobody was helping him. The men were going by, women were going by. He called out for them. They could not help him. So a lady by the name of Poroye, the same lady who has come to do divination with Ifa, and Ifa has instructed her to deposit the offering at a certain place close to where he was. She came and deposited the sacrifice and heard the voice of Orunmila calling after her. And then she said to Orunmila, I don't know how I can get you out. Orunmila said, you use your head wrap, and stretch it down to me and let me hang on to it to come out. Orunmila tried it, and it wasn't long enough. And eventually, Orunmila advised her to use her wrap, which is longer, and he used the wrap, and they were coming out, and he was pulling Orunmila out. As he was pulling Orunmila out, Orunmila was hanging on to the deer, at the same time hanging on to the fabric, the wrap that she is using. And as Orunmila was about to come out, the hand of the deer severed from the body. When it severed, the Poroye fell back on her back, and Orunmila fell on top of her and was overcome with desire for her. So Orunmila made love to her, and she complained to Orunmila that she just had her period. And Orunmila said, because you have your period, what we have done, we turn into a child. And Orunmila blessed her, and they went. She described to Orunmila who she is, and she asked Orunmila, how will she know who he is? And he said, when you come to Okemesi, my house is, he described his house, how his house is painted, and what sign she will use to know it's Orumila's house. Anyways, they parted their ways, and she got pregnant and had a child. She's the wife of a king, also a daughter of a king. And the king, who had never had any child, took care of the child, and the child grew up. So every time the child will be asking the mom, who is my father? Where is my father? And Poroye one day decided, okay, she told her son Olomo the whole story about what happened and how to find the home of his father and who his father is. So one day, the son said to the mom, well, let's go and find my dad. And they decide to go. But before they can get to Ile-Ife in Okemesi, where Ile-Ife is, there is a forest that had 3 bandits in there. The same bandits are the ones that stole the possessions of Alara, the king, the possessions of Ajero, the king, and possession of Owarogaga, the king. And that's another Odu. So these bandits now attack Poroye and Olomo, the mother and son, and they were contemplating what to do with them. And one of them decided, let's sell them into slavery. So both of them were sold separately into slavery. And then one day, Orunmila went into the market to buy a slave for offering, because at the beginning of time, humans are used as sacrifice to Ifa. So after Orunmila bought the slave, he took the slave home, and the slave was doing work, preparing for the festival, and the slave started to sing a song, singing that who he is, that his father is a priest that has this type of a house, as his mother has told him, that his father is not just an ordinary person, that he thinks this is his father's house, that at least he's glad that he's coming to die at his own father's house. He's coming to die at his own father's house. Now, there's an old woman who Orunmila used, where Orunmila kept the slave next door, heard all this story and told Orunmila, and Orunmila now came by to listen. When I'm referring to Orunmila, I'm referring to Irete Meji, Ejiele Mere, Ejiede. And now, he's drop on what the slave was saying, and then to confirm, he came out and rubbed the slave with the Odu, Irete Meji, mark it on the tray, and the powder, have it rubbed on the slave, and then put the slave in the fire, and set up a big fire with an asher that if this person is speaking the truth, that he is my son, for the fire not to consume him. And that if this person is not speaking the truth, for the fire to consume him. And the child was actually complaining, the son was complaining, Father, come and rescue me from here because I'm feeling cold. So he was never consumed. He also didn't believe the fire, and he also put him in boiling water, and nothing happened to him. So now Orunmila was able to confirm that this person is his son. And when the Awos came to do the offerings to Ifa, Orunmila presented a goat, and when Edu is the deity that comes to accept the head of the offering that we give to Ifa. When they came, the Awos told Edu and said, Orunmila, Ifa will not take the head of a person. Ifa will take the head of a rat. Ifa will not take the head of a person. Ifa takes the head of a goat. Ifa will not take the head of a person. Ifa take the head of a bird. That is on a tortoise, and so on, which is still the same song we sing when we are feeding Ifa. we sing a song and said, the beginning of not using human as sacrifice anymore. It is through the redemption of Olomo, a child of Orunmila. Once Orunmila now realized, this is my son, and he was not used for sacrifice now. Now Orunmila asked him, where is your mother? So now they have to go searching for the mother. The mother has also been sold into slavery, and she was being used to work on a farm. When Orunmila was able to trace and found where she was, he knew he cannot walk into town and just take her back. He had to create a plan. And Orunmila created a plan, went back into the forest and covered himself in palm frond and dressed like a masquerade and approached the people and used the masquerade to claim Poroye back. And after Orunmila see Poroye, he still also devised a plan to take Poroye from them and take Poroye back home, because he cannot do that just normally. He had to dress Poroye in and walk with that Egungun as the chaperone. That is how Orunmila was able to have his wife and his son back. And then after then, Ifa told us through Osamaro's story that Poroye had 5 more children for Eji Elemere, for Orunmila, after Olomo. So the story of Olomo is very significant in Ifa, in Irete Meji, which is the beginning of not using human as sacrifice anymore. That even if you want to tell the stories of it, say, oh, before we used human for sacrifice, but at one point in time we didn't use it anymore. It is Irete Meji that told us that story through the story of Olomo and Poroye. Now, the poster or the graphic or picture that I sent to Baba Ifashegun was the people, all the Awos who are organizing the festival of Ifa visit Ijan, is the name of the community where all this event took place. And people came in pilgrimage all over around the world to visit the Awos there when they do the casting. They visit the town where Poroye and Olomo were united. The father and mother and son were united with Orunmila and start a life again as a family. That was one of the things that happened during the heritage things that happened. Now, another story of Ifa with Irete Meji. Irete Meji is a very good Odu. When we see Irete Meji, we will say a person will overcome any antagonism, because Eji Elemere, Orunmila now is successful. Successfulness begat envy. All the other Awos were envious. Was envious even to the point of Olofin himself, which is the king of the land at that time. Olofin was envious of Eji Elemere and devised a plan to get rid of him. But in the process, what he did was dug up a pit under and want him to be out of this world and send him back to the spirit world. But luckily for Orunmila never does anything without making offering, without asking Ifa what to do. So in this, Orunmila ask Ifa, and Ifa said to make offering before he goes to do this, to make offerings to Eshu before he goes to do divination for Olofin. As he sat down to do the divination, he fell through the pit and was in the spirit world. All the making alone, get away. All the other Awos that is in the spirit world, who he always do work with, now saw him and they were wondering, what is he doing in the spirit world? He says he came to visit them and they hosted him. And we will learn through the Odus that the spirit world and the earth, the people are going back and forth. It was they should have cut it off. We are going back and forth. People are trading. People in the spirit world are coming to trade on earth, and people on the earth are going there to do work with them. But after a while now, the earth and the spirit world were separated from each other. Yeah. Now, when the Awo saw Orunmila there, they said, now, what are you doing? He says he's come to visit them, they entertain him, they did work together, and then on the day that they have to go back to go do work for Olofin. Orunmila followed them. And when they got to Olofin's house, Orunmila told the Awos what Olofin did. And they were all very unhappy. And they find Olofin that Olofin was paid in four, everything that rat, goats, everything, and had to make offering. And all the Awos shared what he was fine with, and Orunmila forgave Olofin, and life continues on again. It shows the efficacy of offerings and sacrifices to Eshu. That nothing that Orunmila cannot overcome, or a priest of Ifa, there's nothing that is beyond Ifa to be overcome. If one makes the right sacrifices, or meet the right Awo who can make the right offerings and right sacrifices, and things will change. That is the purpose of Ebo. It is a G. Elemere Iretemeji that taught us why and how the female goat becomes the main staple of Eshu. In this other one, it is why we said, put it in the heart of the Awo to relate this story. It says, oh, you have an antagonizing enemy, but whatever they do to you, if you make offering, they are going to cut it with their own head, that they are going to be exposed, and they are going to be persecuted for what they have done to, what they are trying to do to you if you make offering, which means overcome antagonizing enemy. The dog and the goat were servants of Orunmila. And then prosperity has made Orunmila now become so wealthy that he can host the Awos all the time. He can host them because he has money, and everybody wants to be with him, around him. So one day, it is his turn to host the meeting of all the Awos, all the priests. They were coming to his house and his wife told him in the first thing in the morning and said, "Oh, Baba, we don't have palm oil anymore. We have to go into the farm to gather some palm oil so that we can use it to cook food for the priests that are coming." So Orunmila decided to quickly change his clothes and he was going. And before he left, he told the dog and the goat, male he-goat, and told him that, okay, do not tell anybody where I'm going. I'm quickly going to get some palm oil for the cooking. And they said, okay, and he left to help his wife. And then when, not too long, the Awo started to come in. They were asking the servants, where is your master?
the goat was quick to say, "Oh, our master has gone to the farm to go make palm oil with his wife." And the dog was there to rescue that situation, to say, "Oh, our master just went to gather some things that is going to use for this meeting. They're going to put that staples that they are going to use for the meeting, the gathering." And then not long, the Orunmila came, and the Awos he greeted the Awos, the priest, and they were angry at him. They didn't answer him. And he said, they said, "Oh, you are not here to wait for." He said, "No, I quickly went to gather some of the things that we are going to use, because this morning when I divined, I found out Ifa said we must make some offering and sacrifices. And I went to gather some of the things on the farm that we are going to use." As a matter of fact, when he has heard that it is the goat that said, because dog went and tell him, dog went and told him that the dog went and told him that his master has gone. They went and told the master that the goat has been tattletailing here, telling what he was doing, despite what he had instructed them not to do. And immediately, Orunmila was quick to say, "Oh, it is the goat that we are going to use for the offerings to issue." Okay, now that is how the goat becomes a staple food of issue. Is the first, if an offering, if a divination or situation is very, very, very high or hard, the first staple of food that we're going to give to issue is a goat. If blood has to touch the earth, we will use a goat head, a whole goat, and spill the blood on the issue. If we have to wash somebody's head on the issue, we will use a goat or a pigeon, a rooster. But goat is number one staple. That is how the goat became the number one food of issue. It is through Iretemeji. So if we cast Iretemeji for somebody, we will tell the person, if he comes in Nayewo, we will say, you are going to overcome antagonizing enemy. Somebody who is close to you, or a servant or a person who is working for you is undermining you. And if you don't make an offering, if you make an offering, you will overcome such a person. They will use their head. If at work, somebody is like always undermining your work, sabotaging or something like that, trying to get rid of you, you make an offering, and we cast and we see Iretemeji. If we make an offering that we did, that Orunmila did in this situation, which is give a goat to issue, such a person they will end up being the one that lose their job. That is how that is how effective the efficacy of offerings and sacrifice to issue is in the Iretemeji. And Iretemeji also divine for Yeye Olomomefa, whose children were dying. She has 6 children and 3 of them died, and went to Ifa, and Ifa still casted and still see that death is still on the trail of this woman. And with offerings and sacrifice, death was able to be averted from the Yeye Olomomeji's home. Iretemeji is a very good Odu. It is an Odu. Even though it is very low in hierarchy, it is very high and effective in divination. When we cast Iretemeji, like I said earlier, we will tell a person that they are going to live a life. If Iretemeji, a person that will cast Iretemeji for cannot eat a male goat, so that They will not be meeting with problem and misfortune or being accused of what they didn't do. It will be taboo. And their most effective offerings to issue when you are born by that Odu is a he-goat. Such a person cannot eat a pigeon. And they can use a pigeon to pray to their head regularly. They must use a pigeon to pray to their head regularly. Because both the left and the right wing is what the pigeon used to bring blessings home. The Zemodu casts for the pigeon to have a peace of mind in life. When he came to the world, he has the blessings of Ifa because he made all his offering in the spirit world. That is why on earth he was able to overcome Olofin's machination of getting rid of him because of envy. He did all his offering in the spirit world, and he lived long on earth. He became prosperous, and he met with prosperity very easily, with being able to have wealth. He was able to climb the Ogege tree. We call it Ogege Igi Agunlao. Ogege, the plant, the tree that you climb to prosper. Ogege o igi agunla o Orunmila gegege o igi oro logun o Ogege. I'm sure you must have heard that song. It's another song of Ifa that we always sing. We sing to Ifa, and it is through Ejielemere. This is the Odus that we are able to learn. Iretemeji. Ifa said, when we give offering of cola and gin, or cola and rum, and give it to death, death will not kill us. When we give offering and drink to sickness, sickness will not affect us. It shows us the importance of sacrifices, the importance of offerings in Ifa. It was Iretemeji. Really stresses that a lot. Because every day, issue we ask Igoroko, his assistant, who has offered? And Igoroko, we listed those who are told to offer and who did not. That is why once we approach Okwele or we approach Ikin, it is very important that whatever the Awo says to do, we quickly do it, and we know that then we are free from any demise that Eshu can cook up for not making offering. Eji Elemere, Eji Ede, Eji Rete. Really stress to us the efficacy of making so that we can overcome challenges that might affect us in life. Now, is there any questions? Let us go into questions. You can ask.
Yes, Baba. Abuboye again. I have a question about the term Elemere.
Can you hear me? I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Benny.
Okay. Is there any
so
question
the term
about Ejirete? Anybody that is born by this Odu, they are bound to prosper in life. They are bound to live long. They are bound to overcome all challenges. Anybody that challenge them are going to face, because in many situations here, Ejirete was faced with challenge. From Olofin, he overcame that challenge. From the one with his servant, the goat, he overcame that one. So The person we have this for, we also have children. If they are looking for children, they will find their children. If they are looking for a husband, they will find their husband. If they are looking for a wife, they will find a wife. Once they can make offer. But there might be certain stipulation that, okay, you want to have a wife, you have to leave the town you are living in right now. Go to a strange land and you will find a wife there. Go to a strange land, you will have children. Because many enemies are at the back of one's house.
Baba, can you hear me?
Any other question? Any questions?
Yes, Baba, can you hear me?
Iretemiji.
Can you hear me, Bakari?
We just know that Iretemiji is an Odu of
Yeah, I can hear you,
Yofa
but I don't know if he can hear you.
to death,
This is he probably
no
is probably
death.
on the phone. He's
Yofa
probably on the phone.
to sickness, no sickness. Just give to issue. With when Iretemiji show up, you know it's blessing. But when Iretemiji comes in Ayewo, which means then we know there is antagonizing enemy. There is people conniving that we must, is guaranteed. You make that offering, things are going to be exposed to you that, oh, this person who is attacking me and giving me problem all the time end up being the one that loses job. They think you are going to lose your job through conspiracy against you. You make offering, they end up being the one that carry it on the air because the goat did the same and carried it with his own head. He with his own mouth. That's why in Ifa we always say it is the mouth of the goat that kills the goat. The mouth of the tortoise kills the tortoise. He used his mouth to commit himself. Anyways, any question?
Baba?
There's
We
no
have
question
one
today.
question, Baba. One question.
No questions today?
No, we have one question.
We cannot hear it.
Yeah, I
Baba?
don't think-
I'm
I
not
don't
hearing
think-
you. Oh no, mi ò tí ra. Mi ò tí ra. Ẹ máa gbọ́.
He probably not hearing.
Mo ń bọ̀ ìṣẹ́jú méjì.
Baba?
I'm trying to confirm that you can hear me.
We can hear you, but
Eh?
are you hearing us? Yes, we can.
Any,
I'm not
Baba?
hearing a single word. So I've been talking to air. Can you hear me? Shit. So everything.
Can't hear us. That's the problem.
So I've been talking to just air all this time.
No, we can.
Okay, I see your message. You
typing.
can hear me, but I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. There's no sign that I can hear anybody. Wá lọ bá mi mú, wá lọ bá mi mú, lọ bá mi mú wáyà mi wá. Headphone. Let me bring a headphone. I can't hear a single word. Kọ́ bá mi yọ lára wall yẹn. Ẹ bá mi yọ. Mo ń sọ̀rọ̀ headphone. Ẹ bá ilé tí wọ́n bá mi yọ. Ṣọwọ́ ẹ lè tó. Àbí kò fàájà. I'm coming. I want to use my headphone. I cannot hear a single word. I want to get my headphone. Hey, Joe. 7 o'clock.
I'm coming on with my.
Lara Ogiri ni. Oh, a lot of
Julie,
giri
here
at
again.
Mimbe. A lot of giri white headphones.
I went from being a woman who didn't know her husband was gay to being a woman who didn't know her husband was a criminal. I'm not sure it's an upgrade.
Well, next time, just marry a gay criminal and check off all the boxes.
One moment, I'm trying to get my headphone.
That's CBC? What is that?
I've been buying all of those people coming in. Okay, hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Uh-huh.
can.
So you can hear me, but I didn't hear any. Okay, now you can ask the questions. Sorry.
Excellent. Baba, so I'm
ahead.
asking about the term Elemere, because Elemere, I've seen it as a child who was born to die, like Abiku. So I'm wondering what the relation is.
Elemere. Elemere is a child that is not born to die. Emere is a child that has spiritual spirit, spiritual friend.
Egbe.
Egbe, yes. Emere can be an Egbe, can have Egbe. But once we are able to find that out and you make offerings, the Egbe can be in support of such a person and not be against them.
Ah.
So we know how to feed them regularly. You give to them regularly and they be support of such an entity. Or we can remove them completely and they don't have any influence in such a person's life anymore.
Oh.
In my land, we remove them completely. We do things to make the Egbe not be able to see such a person anymore and not be able to interact with them anymore. And once in a while, if I will say, okay, go and give offerings to them and put the offerings in this specific place for them, which is at the base of banana plants or maybe at garbage dumps, you know. Yeah, Elemere. Elemere is another name for Iretemeji. And if such a person have that spiritual spirit, and they are, because you never know they do until they start having sick or they are having problems or they're having dreams or they're having issues, and we go to Ifa. Ifa say, oh, she has Emere. And Elemere, this is an Elemere child that has spiritual friends, and then if I said this is what the friends will take, because this child has promised that after so many years, the day they are going to be married is the day they are dying, or the day they are going to have a child is the day they are dying. They are going, or they will never be able to have prosperity by they do some work and they end up losing the profit to somebody else who run away with it all the time. So we say, oh, what is causing this? I said, oh, it's Egbe. Now we have to appease them and they will leave such a person alone.
Okay. Is it the same? Abiku is the same or not?
No, Abiku is a child that is born to die. Abiku can be make a pact, but Abiku is a child that was born to die, and they will always die early. They will die early. So they are different from Emere that can grow to be older, you know, but not being able to be effective in their life or accomplish destiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can switch subjects. I wanted to talk about the Oshun festival.
Yes, go ahead.
So I have a question about the Atupa Oloju Meridilogun.
Yes, the 16 lamps. Atupa means lamps. Meridilogun is 16, the 16 lamps. Yes.
Yeah. So the lighting of the lamps. So just what I understood was the festival is to I guess it's like a contract with the forest spirits in Oshogbo that they are responsible for carrying out Oshun's directives. Can you I don't know if there's can explain.
It is the Atupa Oloju Meridilogun is the lamp
is lighted to be able to, for Oshun to be able to have the spirit of the forest support the people and Oshun herself, because Oshun uses water, uses the forest. When the story says when Oshun came to Oshogbo, and there are other spirits in that forest, Oshun had to make a pact with those spirits not to hurt the people, because so that the people can come to her. Eventually, after Oshun has appeased all the deities, all the spirits, they start coming to her, and Oshun still told them, "You are going to ignore me," and which they did for many years. But through the lamp, they were able to find their way back to Oshun, so they never forget the lamp. They will light the lamp for Oshun, because whatever Oshun predicted before, whatever Oshun said before, did I answer the question?
Danny Baba, yes, thank you.
Okay. The lamp is part of the festival and is what Oshun used to appease the spirit.
So were the forest spirits bothering the people?
Say that again?
I'm wondering if the forest spirits were antagonizing the people before.
Yes, people are always, the world of the spirit and the world of the humans are never mixed together. There is no way you are going to feel spirit where you will not be afraid. Sometimes the ancestors, they might not show themselves to us fully because we are only human. We will be overcome with fear, which will make us want to run away. So that's why you always through intuitions and through feelings, how we gain from the ancestors. If the spirits show themselves completely, we will be afraid. So the spirits people are always afraid of the spirits. But with the lamp, for example, you turn the light up and be in darkness. Your imagination is going to be seeing something that is not there. Eventually, you will start becoming afraid. But when there's light, you can see clearly, and then you see that, okay, there is nothing there. So it's that light, the lamp, that helps the people to be able to cope with the spirit and not be so afraid, So Oshun brought that. That's why they still use that to commemorate her, to celebrate her during their ceremony.
Adupe. Thank you, Baba.
Yeah. Any other? If there's any other question, our next one will be a Kamiji. A Kamiji that does not enter the horn of a Kamiji. In our language, we say 2 fingers does not enter the horn of a deer. That nothing that people do on this earth that is negative will affect us. Because negativity does not kill nothing. Nothing is a child of Orunmila. It's just void. Nothing is void. Void, like just nothing. Void. Nothing kills void. Nothing affects the void. A Kameji, we pray that negativity will not affect us. It is Yodu that cast for the cat, where he was able to now, everything that the cat holds before just slips out of his hand. That one is in our next, we will learn about all the things that Kameji did to the people of the world and to and a Kameji, we can do a Kameji and Ologbomeji, Oturupomeji in our next class. We'll do two Odus together, a Kameji and Oturupomeji, before we move on to Osemeji. And then we'll come to Ofu, and it will be almost the end. Okay. Okay, we will prepare to study on a Kameji and Oturupomeji in the next class. I pray that blessings will flow to us in the coming week, that peace and happiness will abide by us, that we will not meet with negativity. On next Friday, I'm going to do Ifa. I'm going to do new yam for the Orisha to give, because we haven't been eating the new yam. We are harvesting new yam right now, and it's been sold for the last month, but we cannot eat it yet until we have given it to the Orisha. We will also be giving he-goat to the Orisha, snails, and then the next day I will give a goat to Ifa, and then on Saturday, which is our Isheshe Day, I'm going to launch a project for women and children. We are going to gather funds, raise funds. We want to raise some money as a trust fund to be helping women who are wives or themselves are initiates of Orishas, whichever, because it's going to involve everybody and involve different associations and organizations for us to come together and gather from funds. We will help manage it to help support women in the tradition and to support our children to learn more about the culture, about the heritage. I want to create a center where we can play learning center. We will be playing and learning for the children, drumming and singing. Maybe one day when you come to Africa, you come with the drums and, you come with the drums and do the dance and do the, with us, with our children here. So, but with the women, the ones who are trading, and we want to encourage people to be patronizing each other. We have tried to get a collective of people buying and exchanging from each other, patronizing each other. It's like, okay, you are selling fish, all our people go and buy your fish from this person who is an Onisheshe. Let us spend our money. Let us collectively pool our economy and share among each other to see if we can make a difference among ourselves. So I'm launching a project. That project on Saturday, coming Saturday, trying to gather our people, talk to them. I'm gonna do live, and we can try and see if the same way we do Zoom, and just maybe even it's 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Every once in a while, we call in. We just set up the phone and camera to be observing what is going on. And you guys can at least share. Even if you can, we will try and do that on Saturday. It's going to be on Saturday, and it's starting from 11 o'clock our time. 11 o'clock our time. So anything by about 2 o'clock will be 2 is 14 minus 5 is 9. So it'll be 9 in the morning, will be 2. From 9 o'clock till about 12 o'clock your time. Your time. From 9 in the morning till 12 your time. We try and see about calling in and be observe whatever is happening, festivities or activities. I'm going to try and set it up on my phone, where my phone can just be observing and seeing what is going on, and we can share. And we are going to do some Facebook Live. Get my other phone online too, to make sure I can use the Facebook on the other one and use Zoom on this one, so that we can observe some of the festivities of what's going on.
I see.
Okay. Anyways, I pray that this new week will be a week of blessings for us all, that negativity will pass us by and not affect us. Coronavirus is killing people around the world, that we will not share in the world's negativity, that blessings will continue to be ours, and our ears will be hearing good news. Lagbara Idumari. I shall. Till next week again, when we go to Kameji and Oturukon Meji, Ologmo Meji. You stay blessed. I'm sorry for my delay in calling in, and next week I'll try and be more punctual. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Baba.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Baba.
Blessings.
Baba. Yeah.